The night before my wedding, my sister wore my dress. Not by accident, not for fun. She stood in front of the mirror, smiling at her reflection like it already belonged to her. "You're not really ready for this," Liana said softly, adjusting the veil. "You've always been too emotional." I stood at the bedroom door, frozen. The dress was custom made, months of savings, months of dreaming, and yet it wasn't the fabric that hurt. It was the look in her eyes. Liana had always wanted what I had. When we were children, it was my toys. In school, it was my friends. In college, it was my achievements. And now, it was my fiancé, Ethan Cole. Successful, calm, respected. The kind of man who made people feel secure just by standing next to them. He proposed to me after 2 years of steady, quiet love. But somewhere along the way, Liana began appearing more often at our dinners, laughing a little louder, standing a little closer. I noticed, but I ignored it, because she was my sister, and sisters don't cross certain lines. At least, that's what I believed. The next morning, chaos exploded in our house. My mother was crying. My father refused to look at me. And Liana? She was sitting on the couch, holding Ethan's hand. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," she said dramatically. Ethan avoided my eyes. "I think I've been confused," he muttered. Confused. That word again. Men always hide behind confusion when they lack courage. My wedding guests were already arriving. The venue was decorated, flowers everywhere. But inside our living room, everything had collapsed. "When did this start?" I asked quietly. That was my answer. My mother grabbed my arm. "Let's not create a scandal. We can fix this." "Fix this? How?" I whispered. My father finally spoke. "If Ethan believes Liana is better suited, maybe it's fate." Fate. Another cowardly word. I looked at Ethan one last time. "Do you love her?" I asked. He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything, because a man in love doesn't hesitate. Liana squeezed his hand. "He deserves someone stronger," she said pointedly. Stronger. As if loyalty was weakness. I expected to break, to scream, to beg. But something strange happened instead. I felt calm, almost detached. "If you both want this," I said slowly, "then take it." Liana blinked. "What?" "Take the dress. Take the venue. Take the guests." I removed my engagement ring and placed it on the table. "But understand one thing," I continued. "You didn't win anything. You inherited someone who couldn't stay." The room went silent. For a brief moment, I saw doubt flash across Liana's face. But pride is louder than doubt. They went through with the wedding. Yes. On the same day. In the same venue, with the same decorations meant for me. I didn't attend. Instead, I packed a suitcase and left town before sunset. I didn't cry until I was alone in a small hotel room hours away. Not because I lost Ethan. but because I lost my sister and my parents' support. The betrayal wasn't romantic, it was personal. Months passed. I found a job in another city, a small marketing firm. Nothing glamorous. I rented a studio apartment with plain white walls. I rebuilt my life quietly. No drama, no revenge posts, no angry messages, just distance. One evening, nearly a year later, my phone rang. It was my mother. I almost didn't answer. "They're divorcing," she said immediately. I felt no shock. "Why?" I asked. "Ethan says Liana is too controlling, too insecure. They argue constantly." I closed my eyes. The same traits she accused me of lacking were now her flaws. "Are you coming home?" my mother asked carefully. I looked around my apartment, my small plants on the windowsill, my work desk, my peace. "No," I replied gently. "I already am home." 2 weeks later, I received another call, this time from Ethan. "I made a mistake," he said without greeting. "I know," I replied calmly. "I was manipulated." "She!" I stopped him. "You weren't manipulated. You were tempted." Silence. "I miss you," he whispered. "You miss comfort," I corrected. "Not me." He exhaled heavily. "Can we meet?" That single word felt powerful, because once upon a time, I would have said yes. A few days later, Liana showed up at my office. She looked different, less polished, less confident. "You think you won?" she said bitterly. I studied her carefully. I didn't compete. Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "He compares me to you," she admitted. "Says you were calmer, kinder." That old familiar jealousy flickered in her expression. "For years," she continued, "I felt like you were always ahead. I thought if I took something big from you, I'd finally feel equal." I almost felt sorry for her, but not enough to carry her burden. "You didn't take anything from me," I said quietly. "You exposed something." She frowned. "What?" "A man who leaves easily." She had no response, because deep down she knew. Before leaving, she asked one last question. "Do you hate me?" I thought carefully. "No," I answered honestly, "but I don't trust you." And trust, once broken, rarely returns. 3 years later, I stood at another altar. Different city, different man, different life. His name was Daniel. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't from a powerful family. But he never hesitated when I asked, "Do you choose me?" "I choose you," he said immediately. No pause, no confusion, no fear. As I walked down the aisle this time, there was no shadow behind me, no sister competing, no fiancé wavering, only clarity. And when Daniel slipped the ring onto my finger, I realized something important. Losing that first wedding wasn't humiliation. It was protection. Because sometimes betrayal isn't the end of your story. It's the part that removes the wrong people from it. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to to Silent Stories for more emotional journeys.